Hi, it's me again, and I got a bit of driving to do today, so I thought rather than spend that time in the car singing to my rubbish 80s music, I thought we could have a bit of a chat, because I'm struggling to find time to make the videos, and I think this might be a good way to do it, because I spend a lot of time in this blooming jalopy. So I thought we could talk this week about the BBC, because there's a lot been going on with the BBC this week. And I'm in the car, right? And a minute ago I had LBC on, and it's Saturday morning, so the Gary Lineker thing's still going on. And loads of people are phoning in saying, I'm cancelling my TV licence, I'm cancelling my TV licence. They're supposed to be fair and impartial, and everyone's allowed to have an opinion. I'm cancelling my TV licence, I don't agree with this Gary Lineker thing. They should reinstate him, all of this. And the presenter, it was a girl, I don't know her name. Well, I assume it's a girl. You're not allowed to do that anymore, are you? Assume that. But she was saying, please don't cancel your TV licence. And she said a thing to everybody saying, look, I need to say, please don't all cancel your TV licences. It's a criminal offence and we are not telling you to do that. Why? Why aren't they giving the proper information? Why don't they say, look, if you don't agree with something the BBC's doing, you can cancel your TV licence? A big outlet like a major radio station saying that, giving the true information, saying you can cancel your TV licence if you want to, as long as you don't watch anything as it's being broadcast, record anything that's being broadcast, or use BBC iPlayer. Wouldn't that be an amazing thing? That would really show the BBC something, wouldn't it? If a major media outlet said something like that. So I don't know. I was a bit disappointed by him putting a thing out saying, don't cancel your TV licences, it's a criminal offence. Just wound me up a little bit when it's a missed opportunity, really, isn't it? But it goes to show what side of the fence the LBC sit on, really, doesn't it? Well, as we merge here onto every Essex person's least favourite road, the A12, what else has happened this week in the world of the BBC? Well, the Tim Davie comments are still going around. He was doing a private thing for staff, and he said it's amazing we're getting away with charging people a forced fee and all that. You must have heard the quotes by now. I've talked about them a lot on this channel. That's still going. That's not been forgotten. There's still articles and tweets going on about that. That's not been forgotten at all. And that brings me to the Gary Lineker thing, because that could they could be using that. The BBC could be using that, because we also this week had about the BBC orchestras. That the BBC, you should know by now, I've talked about it enough, haven't I? They've got about 6 orchestras the BBC support, with a couple of hundred full-time musicians, a couple of hundred full-time orchestral musicians that your licence fees pay for. And choirs. I didn't know about the choirs, but they're making cuts to it, and that's been in the news this week, that they're making cuts to all of that. And that's caused a bit of uproar, especially with like Musicians Union and all of that stuff. They've really kicked off about it. I think it's a good thing. I think it's cuts the BBC should be making, personally. It sounds right to me. But yeah, it's caused a bit of uproar. So there's a lot of negative stuff about the BBC, and some stuff, especially Davie's comments, that they'd want to bury. They'd want not talking about anymore. Because like the OAP TV licences, I bet when they made that claim saying we're not going to pay them anymore, they thought that would just go away in the news in a couple of days, and it has faded off, but it's still being talked about. And Tim Davie's comments, his private comments that were leaked, are still being talked about, and they're not getting buried, are they? So the BBC could have taken this whole thing with Lineker as an opportunity to bury some other BBC comments and stuff away, isn't it? Because now all we're talking about is Lineker. It's all over the shop. And, you know, should he be allowed to talk about what he wants to talk about? I don't know. All I know is if you're going to let him talk about what he wants to talk about and give his own personal opinion on stuff, then you've got to let every BBC employee do it. You can't have rules for one and one rule for another, can you? So the news journalists and the people who work in news and current affairs on the BBC are not allowed to express their personal opinions on their personal social media. They're just not. But Gary Lineker is. And I know he doesn't work in news and current affairs, but he is a high-profile BBC employee, the highest paid BBC employee. Should he have to stick to the same rules? You can't have one rule for one and one rule for another, can you? And another complaint that people were saying last night is, like when I was reading up about all this because I'm sad like that, aren't I? But a load of people were talking about Lord Sugar, saying, well, Lord Sugar is a BBC employee and he tweets a lot worse stuff than Lineker tweets. True, but is he an employee? Gary Lineker is contracted to the BBC, the bit of the BBC that you pay your licence fee to, right? But I don't believe Lord Sugar is. I believe Lord Sugar is self-employed, brought in as a private contractor with BBC Studios, which is a commercial entity. It's got nothing to do, even though it uses the same name, with the BBC. So he doesn't have to abide by the rules. He's not an actual contracted employee, where I believe, I could be wrong, that Gary Lineker is a contracted employee. Because we have contractors at my job, I work in IT, as you know. We have contractors come in, and they don't have to play by the same rules that I play by, because I'm a full-time, proper pucker employee. I quite like this car in front. I put a little camera so you can see in front as well. I don't know, hopefully it's working. Quite like that, I'd have that. But I can't say I'm sad about this whole situation with Lineker. We've been saying it for ages. I mean, I don't have it. Well, do I have anything personally against the man? I don't particularly like him, but I don't personally attack him on here like many of you do in the comments, because I'm indifferent to it. My whole issue with Gary Lineker is, how is he the BBC's highest paid employee? I've never understood it. 1.3 million quid, that's my problem with him. Those people out there paying the licence fee, those households struggling to find 13 quid a month or 159 quid a year, going to Gary Lineker for talking about sport once or twice a week with his mates. I don't understand how he's the highest paid BBC employee. I just do not understand it, and that's my whole issue with it. And I don't know what's going to go on tonight's what's it called, match of the day. But I will be able to watch it tonight, because where I'm going, my sister's just bought a pub, and I'm going to help paint it. That's where I'm off to. Right in the arse end of nowhere as well, right out in the Dengie area of Essex. It couldn't be more in the middle of nowhere. I don't know what she's doing. But it's my sister, what are you going to do? I've got to help her out, aren't I? So I'll be over there, and because it's a pub, they do have a TV licence. So I'll be able to watch match of the day tonight. Fellow Bath driver, we say hello to each other. Very friendly people. Yeah, but from what I hear, it's not going to be presented by anybody tonight. It's just going to be a clip show, maybe with some voiceover or something like that. I don't know. So I'll be interested to see. But why, if they can do that for tonight, why can't they do that all the time and then save the 1.3 million quid a year that Gary costs, plus the production team, plus the studio? Do you need any of that? If you're able to do it without that, do you need any of that? Because the way the BBC put the press statement out about the Lineker situation and him not working tonight was that they come to a mutual agreement, and he's not going to be presenting until they come to an arrangement with his social media use. But an insider close to Gary Lineker said to Sky News, I think it was, that the BBC have forced him out. BBC have said you can't work tonight, which is interesting. And is this going to bite him? All he had to do was apologise and play by the line. You know, there's loads of stuff that happens at my work that I'm not happy about, and I get into trouble a lot, as you can imagine, right? And I apologise for it. I just suck it up. Whilst I'm at work, I'm their slave, is the way I see it. They're paying for my time. I do and say what they tell me to do and say. And so I'll apologise and I'll suck it up and I'll toe the line, because I want to stay employed. Is that right? I don't know. That's the way I play the game. So why can't Gary just apologise, and then he can have his match of the day back, and he can just keep a low profile and pocket his 1.3 million quid a year? Why can't he do that? Should he have to do that? That's up for debate, isn't it? Let me know in the comments on that one. But, you know, personally, I would. So this could come back and bite him, because if the BBC find that everything's okay with match of the day, they don't actually need him or need any presenters at all, and save 1.3 million on his salary, plus the studio cost and the production cost. It's got to be millions a year just in studio and production time. they could save that. And they're looking to make a lot of savings, aren't they? So this could come back and bite him. And he could end up not having his contract renewed with the BBC. I can't see them being able to sack him because it would just go to court, wouldn't it? Gary would take it to court. He would. And he'd probably win because there's a precedent of him being able to say what he wants on Twitter. He said other stuff in the past and Tim Davie, the boss of the BBC, has backed him. But they're not backing him this time because public opinion has shifted so much. Or maybe it's the BBC looking to save the 1.3 million quid a year. Or maybe, as I said, the BBC are looking to bury a couple of other news stories from this week about the BBC. And this is a fine way to do it. It's a fine way to do it. You can't knock them for that. Oh look, it's coming up to the garage where I bought this car from. Good garage though. What have they got out the front? Oh, a Taycan. £139,000 for a Taycan. One day. So I don't know, I just thought it was interesting to have a little chat about, because it's been a busy week in the news for the BBC. And what do you think about talking in the car? Do you think this is something I can do more? Because I haven't got a lot of time at the minute. I've got a little promotion at work, and it sucked up a bit of my extra time that I had that I used to make the videos in. So it's not really something, I don't have the same amount of time to make. I mean, I've been making 2 videos a day, and granted, it doesn't take a lot of effort to film them. I'm only talking about newspaper stories most of the time, but it's the editing and the upload time and the making the thumbnails and everything. But this is empty time to me sitting in the car. So if I'm able to make videos that you might want to watch sitting in the car, that's useful to me. And I'm not always going to talk about telly stuff and the BBC licensed stuff. And I've got a list of stuff that I can have for car chats. So let me know what you think, if this is working for you, or if you just think it's the lowest rent tat you've ever seen, which is my channel all over, really, isn't it? Low rent tat. I used to make loads of funny stuff, and now it's just newspaper articles now. I need to get back to having a bit more fun with the channel, I guess. I'm a bit bored with it. But yeah, anyway, if you're interested what car this is, because I doubt you can really see a lot from where you are, can you? It's an Abarth 595. I used to have a Range Rover Sport, but it was just unnecessarily big and expensive and ridiculous. So I chopped it in at that garage we just went past up there for this. It's the 3rd one of these I've had. I love them. Us in the know, we call it an Abarth 595. I'm in the owners club and everything. Driven them all around Italy. Quite passionate about these little Abarths. In case you was interested, I'm sure you're not. But anyway, let me know your thoughts on all this. Do you think that it's the BBC are just trying to bury those stories from the week? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Because that way, hopefully I'll see you in another video again soon, won't I? Ta-da!